Hello and welcome to the GoonerTube Transfer Show. This is the show that brings you all the information of the comings and goings at Arsenal Football Club during this transfer window. Well, first off, we only need to say one name, and that is Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Yes, I can hear it as well. He's finally put pen to paper after much speculation. Well, it was a matter of when and not if, I think, for most people. And for Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, he went on Instagram Live today and basically went on the pitch at Arsenal and then turned the camera around, flipped the camera around and showed it was him and told everybody that he loves the club, it's his family, it's his home and he wants to stay and he's really, really pleased to be staying. Now, I don't know about you, but if you remember those days, those dark days when we used to lose big players if they weren't satisfied or they'd stay for almost the duration of their contract and then they would disappear or they would go for free or whatever. Well, it's nice to know that Pierre is actually staying at the club and he's choosing to stay at the club based on the fact that he loves the club, and that's the most important thing. And there was a beautiful moment where him and Ian Wright were on the same screen when he was doing his live Instagram, and they were smiling and laughing at each other, and it was a sight to behold. One former legend striker at the club and another striker at the club who could well become the next striking legend after the likes of Cliff Bastin, Ian Wright, Thierry Henry, maybe Aubameyang, who knows. But we've got him, and that's the main thing. Now, Arsenal are looking to clear out a few players, as we know, and one player that's coming up in the news is Lucas Torreira, and it's believed that Lucas Torreira has possibly been given the green light to go ahead and move, or at least talk to Torino. It's believed Torino are one of the front-running teams to actually go and get Torreira, and it's believed the deal could be worth around £20 million. Now, considering what we paid for him, there will be a little bit of a loss in there, but I think Arsenal are looking to move Torreira on, which is a real shame because I really like Lucas Torreira. I don't think he ever really got a fair crack of the whip, and maybe just didn't get a good enough run in the team and he lost his confidence and everything like that. So I really don't know. But players have to go. There has to be players that have got to go out the door so we can bring players in, because I don't know if you heard this, but it's believed that Stan Kroenke hasn't actually spent a penny at the club in the last however long, maybe 5 years. So it does make you wonder that obviously the philosophy and the business model that they've got going down there is that they need to shift players out before they can bring players in. And that looks fairly obvious to everybody at the moment. But Lucas Torreira looks like he's possibly going to be one of those players that's going to be going out the door. We're not quite sure yet what's going to happen there. We know that we know that Torino have made the bid, and Arsenal, I think, are expected to accept the bid of possibly £12 million up front, and then the rest based over however long it is before they can get up to the £20 million or £22 million valuation that Arsenal have put on his head. Now, West Ham, this is an interesting one. West Ham are planning a £5 million bid to sign Rob Holding on a loan, and what they're planning on doing is paying Arsenal £5 million for a season-long loan, and they're willing to pay his wages. So you can imagine that probably would be quite interesting for Arsenal, because it would mean that effectively they'd be taking Rob Holding's wages off the book, and they would also be receiving £5 million for the player for the season for that loan. So you can only imagine that Arsenal are thinking about that, although it's believed that Arteta has pretty much stamped his feet and said, no, Rob isn't going. He's part of his plans and he wants him in for this season. But it's going to be interesting to see how that develops, because if you remember in our last transfer show, we were talking about Rob possibly going to Newcastle, but then the whole thing was a U-turn, and he ended up back at Arsenal when Arsenal wanted him to stay at the club. So I can't see what the difference would be between Newcastle and West Ham. I suppose one being a London club, it might make things easier for Rob if he's based around London. But apart from that, I'm pretty certain that we need to keep hold of our best defenders. And with the fact that we've got some defenders injured, I think it would be a good idea to keep hold of Rob. But let us know what you think in the comments section below regarding Rob Holding, as to whether you think he should go or Arsenal should keep hold of him. Personally, I think they should keep hold of him. Now then, here's an interesting one, a very quick one. Oscar, who used to play for Chelsea, he plays at Shanghai SIPG, and he's claimed that Willian and David Luiz have spoken to him to try and convince him to come and join the Gunners. And Arsenal fans, it's believed, have been responding to this on Twitter. Now, Oscar spent more than 4 years at Chelsea between 2012 and 2017, and he went past the 200 appearance mark for Chelsea, and he played alongside, ironically, Willian and David Luiz in that Chelsea side. So it's really interesting to see that he's got a contract, it's believed, till 2024, where he joined for a whopping £60 million. But it's believed that he has been in touch with the likes of Willian and David Luiz, and they really want him to come to the club because it's believed that a replacement's going to be needed for Mesut Ozil at some point. Now, who that replacement is once Mesut Ozil leaves the club, which is going to be next year, I would imagine, at this rate. So it's going to be interesting to see who comes in. But Oscar seems to be a name that's been popping up lately. Now then, on the goalkeeping front, we all know that Emi Martinez has left to go to Aston Villa, which is pretty sad. I'm like a lot of Arsenal supporters and didn't want Emi to go, but we have to realise that a football player's career is a very short one. It can be extremely short, depends on injuries and all the rest of it. But Emi has been very lucky to sign a 4-year contract worth around £75,000 a week. And that's a slight bump up from the £20,000 a week he was getting at Arsenal. So I guess you can't really blame Emi for wanting to do that move, because he wants to be in a number one position to try and play more games in the Premier League. And also he wants to try and get to the number one spot for Argentina. And the only way he's going to do that is if he's playing regular first team football for a Premier League club, and that seems to be the philosophy behind the reason for his move. And in some ways I can't blame him, because a footballer's life career is rather short, and he's taking care of his wife and his family, and so all I can do as an Arsenal supporter, and I'm sure you will too, is wish him all the best at Aston Villa, provided we can stick a few goals past him when we come to play them this season. But apart from that, we wish him all the best. So good luck, Emi, in your new venture at Aston Villa. Now, talking of goalkeepers, the Dijon goalkeeper, Runar Alex Runnison, he is believed to be having a medical, or he's had a medical at Arsenal ahead of a potential move to the club. Now, this comes off the back that obviously Emi Martinez has moved to Villa for £20 million. And the Icelandic goalkeeper has been identified by Mikel Arteta as the perfect backup to Bernd Leno in the squad. Runnison moved to FC Nordsjælland in 2014 and made 60 first-team appearances, while also earning his first senior Iceland cap in 2017. Now, the reports say that the Gunners are prepared to pay up to £1.5 million for Gunnarsson, and Arsenal's current goalkeeping coach Inaki Kana has already worked with Runnison at Danish side Nordsjælland. So this one is going to play out for a little while. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with Runnison, and whether he's going to be named as the number 2 goalkeeper for Arsenal over the next 48 hours or so. He was capped 5 times for Iceland. He's 25 years old, and he's Dijon's number 2 keeper. So let's see how that one plays out. But at the moment, it's believed that he's been having a medical. So I would imagine an announcement will be coming soon regarding Runnison, the potential number 2 goalkeeper who's going to be replacing Emi Martinez. Now, Arsenal have rejected a £3 million bid for Florian Balogun, one of the academy players. A 19-year-old has failed to agree a new contract with Arsenal. He looks set to leave the club in this summer, but Arsenal have slapped a £15 million price tag on him, and it seems to be warding off a lot of clubs, including Brentford and Sheffield United, as I mentioned before. Although it's believed that he may go to the Bundesliga if the right offer comes in for this young man. Now, the thing is, if you're looking at his stats, he's scored something like 28 goals in as many appearances for the youth teams in the 2018 and 19 season, and he followed that up with 10 goals in 15 appearances for the club's under 23 side last season. So are we right to possibly let this young man go, or are we going to try and develop into something else, because he could be the next big thing at Arsenal? That's what he's being touted as. So maybe that's the reason Arsenal have put some ridiculous price on him at the moment, so it sort of wards teams off and we can then nurture him and turn him into a fantastic player at the club. I really, really hope so. So hang on, did somebody mention Aubameyang? If you didn't catch it at the top of the show, yes, Aubameyang has put pen to paper, he's signed a contract and he's going to be staying at Arsenal. So what can I say other than thank you so much, Pierre, for all the hard work and effort you've put into the club so far, and thank you for the fact that you've put your trust in Arsenal and Arsenal have put their trust in you for the next 3 or so years. Thank you so much. I'm so pleased as an Arsenal supporter to know that Pierre is staying at the club, and I'm sure you are too. So until the next time, keep it GoonerTube. We'll see you soon.